someone is a blessing. The love you find you won't be able to deny. Just take this chance and fly away with me. Let's break your chains and give you time to heal. So I wait while you take your time. I wait while you take your time. I will wait while you take your time. I wait while you take your time. You know I see us together, strolling hand in hand and watch the sun goes down. For you I would do whatever. I'll pick you up where you feel you're about to drown. Just take this chance and fly away with me. Let's break your chains and give you time to heal. So I wait while you take your time. I wait while you take your time. Wait while you take your time. Wait while you take your time. I know you will find your way from all of this. I know there's a brighter day for you. Tell me, what are you saying? What game are we playing? I want us to be for real now, real now. Oh, so I wait while you take your time. I will wait while you take your time. I will wait while you take your time. I will wait while you take your time. Wait while take your time. Wait while take your time. Wait while take your time. And darling, baby, take your time. We found love here. Together we will shine. But we know we're running out of time. 'Cause we met like strangers in the night. Don't tell me it's over. Now you got that something in the way you smile. I see that spark lights in your dark blue eyes. So I can't let you go without telling you this now. I wanna see you again. I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I will give my love to you, but will I see you when I get there? I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I will give my love to you, but will I see you when I get there? Oh, we can make it for the world to see. 'Cause now I know you'll be a part of me. I wanna share my hopes and dreams with you, but will I ever see you again? I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I will give my love to you, but will I see you when I get there? I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I will give my love to you, but will I see you when I get there?
Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BTS Pro Series 12. We are getting into the final day of the action here in the playoff bracket, beginning with the lower bracket final. We are checking out an all South American matchup here, SG Esports taking on Wolf Team. As we are diving into the Game 1 draft DT, one of these two teams are going to be moving on and getting a shot at 5-Rat in that best of 5 grand final.
Yeah, and SG, well, you probably want a little bit of revenge. SG definitely was looking like the better team coming up until that series. Even in the series, of course, some heroics just ending up giving the 5-Rats the victory, but that final game just was anybody's victory. That could have swung so many different ways, so many different times. So SG really feel like the team that should be in the grand finals already here in lower bracket, but that's where Wolf Team, they've also picked up so much speed, and well, there's an HFN Medusa on board here. So they get to run their most successful strategy with HFN's most successful carry hero. And SG are playing a little bit dirty. They have Marcy Batrider. They're just not going to make it easy, but this is definitely something I like from Wolf Team.
Hmm. Yeah, and we saw, as you said, SG just fell a little bit short in that series, and well, maybe that's some motivation. Maybe that's some fuel for them. But they are going up, as you said, against the HFN Medusa, and they're going into a matchup here, ET, where SG could feel a little bit more confident than usual because these two teams in particular have faced off, I think, in 3 series now, and SG have never lost a game against Wolf Team. They're a perfect 6-0 coming into this one. Of course, with the way both of these teams have been playing, does that really mean a whole lot? But at least SG have gotten their opponent's number in the past.
Yeah, and that has also been despite the HFN Medusa.
Hmm.
It's where I think this is one of the few times where Wolf Team is actually first phasing it versus SG, but that's where the few times it has been let through, they've beaten it. The times it hasn't been let through, then they go for something else and they still look great. It's where Wolf Team are still the team that has to go for a mix-up here. It's where I'm kind of sitting here looking for come that second phase. No Primal Beast ban, no Techies ban. Do
Hmm.
Wolf Team get their lane? Does FCR get his hero? I absolutely love that SG ban out Visage. I love
Yeah.
that those heroes are getting banned out more consistently now because we do end up in that more brawly type of Dota where everybody just goes for a big team fight mid and then you either win or you're dead. And that's where this game gets a lot more interesting. But I do wonder if SG are kind of dropping the ball here a little bit because FCR has options. And as we have kept on talking about for Wolf Team, he's been the stand-up player on that team, as well as I think King RD doing a whole lot of enabling, just making sure that there is that flexibility. And yeah, Primal Beast ban, well deserved. Don't let him have it. It would have been a little bit of a misplay, I think.
Primal Beast just a little too strong at this point. I do want to also point out, though, from SG, I am liking, you talked about the Visage ban for FCR, but the removal of mid laners in general, considering they picked up the Batrider, but the Puck in particular, that was a big play for Sooths yesterday. They played him on that hero in both of their wins in that series against Dogchamp, and he did not disappoint. It was something like, I think 26 and 2 or 3 was his final stat line across those 2 games, so oh, SG thinking we can't really let him take control. We've already let the HFN Deuce through. We're just going to have to deal with that, but let's not allow Seuss to burn KXY at the same time.
Yeah, and even though KXY is a big fan of the tiny mid, so maybe that's where you would want to let it through just off of virtue of the matchup alone, I think Sooths just plays better, and I also think it gives Wolf Team a whole lot of an easier time when it comes to drafting. It just feels like they can cobble together some team fight lineup with the puck, and it just seems to work. And I feel like a part of me is also a little bit sad that the Undying's picked up because this means that we're not going to get any KJ Snapfire, even though they could still pick Snapfire for their other lane, but KJ Snapfire just hits different. He just wins lanes. He just makes HFN's life so much easier. And that's where, of course, the puck becomes the enabler, and then it makes the Snapfire's life so much easier. But probably not in this draft. But we will have to see, because now Wolf Team still have the techies available if you want it for FCR. But you are playing versus an Enchantress, so do you turn the draft around and maybe go for a counter pick in the CM? No, and they actually pick up Tiny.
Okay.
So really interesting because Tiny versus Batrider, not the prettiest lane in the entire world, but once Tiny hits level 6, has a little bit too much armor to really allow the Bat Rider to kill him underneath his own tower, and then, I mean, you're a Tiny with infinite mana. Could also be your 4 position, and they swap things around, but
Oh, okay.
that makes it a core undying. Okay.
Interesting move. We did see a little bit of that core undying from some of the matchups, I think actually over both of the past 2 days, so teams have been putting it into that position, and that plays back into ET. What you were talking about with teams kind of emphasizing this more brawl-like strategy, like 15 to 25 minutes, you're just hanging out in a lane fighting anyone that you see, and the off-lane version of Undying does make you a little bit more intimidating if you are looking for those fights.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh,
Oh, that is such an
whoops.
Oscar hero to pick right now. He is really the only Timbersaw actually in the tournament. Of course, everybody can play Timbersaw. It's an age-old hero in the meta, but I think Oscar's just been the one to pull the trigger more often than not. And yeah, Undying, Tiny, Omni Knight, sure. Very low on stuns. SG have a lasso and a rebound, and that's it. But if Oscar can kind of run away with it, I mean, this is going to have to change up Wolf Team's lane just a little bit. And this will result in HFN getting a very free level 6. The Medusa's going to have very easy early levels now. Don't really think I can see too much pressure going on there. But I do wonder what Wolf Team is doing with this Tiny and Undying. I almost feel like you just put the Tiny mid now, make the Undying 3, and then just pick a really nice enabling 4. And then you have somebody to show up to the runes. Because, I don't know, it just feels awkward right now if we have the Tiny and the Undying in the same lane, regardless of whether either one is a core. It just doesn't feel right now for Wolf Team. I would love FCR to just kind of swing back around for the techies, honestly, at this point. But maybe that's still out of the realm of possibility. But if I'm SG, that's what probably feels the most correct as well. Because it's not like it's going to be an Undying mid. It's almost certainly going to be Tiny mid, Undying off lane. It might actually be time to ban 4s, which sounds weird, but understandable because Wolf Team don't have last pick. So not exactly the most impactful last hero for your draft.
We'll see what direction they look in. Yeah, there's the techies ban. So FCR getting a nice bit of respect. His visage taken away. His techies banned out too. So, well, this is kind of what Wolf Team wanted. We would love to see him on those heroes. There's just no arguing that. But you have now pulled 2 bans for your position 4 player, and it got you your Deuce in phase 1, and maybe now it gets them something sneaky at the end. But looking at this from the Wolf Team perspective, ET, in terms of what they should be banning against, see them take out the Slark already. What do you think at this point? Will SG lean into having Yuma try to match the Dusa on a hyper carry, or do they look for someone who's going to be battle ready earlier to just try and roll over the Wolf Team lineup before she builds up?
I think the most likely, or rather the 2 most likely heroes probably just feel like Yuma Luna or Yuma Drow. I think those are probably the easy ones to call. Luna maybe just a little bit more because I think she comes online a little bit sooner, but is also just fine to fight versus Medusa because, of course, Medusas don't like getting BKB till after Scotty, and that's a chunk of change. That's a little bit of gold, and that's where you can certainly be online before her. Is a dangerous matchup, though. It's where if the Medusa can just outrange you with the Dragon Lance and then force you into that engagement where you're constantly running at her, then it becomes slightly more problematic. But I could see them just going for this big timing push where they've got BKB, they've got one item on the Timber Saw, and then your Luna has an Aegis and a Manta style and then is just running at you. It just seems like Wolf Team wouldn't have enough to actually defend against that. Not to mention, aside from the Medusa, Wolf Team have really no wave clear right now. So when it comes to defending these early tier 1 towers from the Timbersaw, it is not going to be difficult for him to just march things down. It's where I think in this last hero, and they do split the bans a little bit with the Leshrac just in case there is that flexibility, but anything for FCR here to just push out those waves and keep them away from the towers is going to be so important because otherwise SG just either kill you or they run at your building, and both options are bad for Wolf Team because you're not going to be able to hold on to them very easily. And then you would hope that you have somebody to make plays on the other side, but that's where the Medusa will not be able to translate those tower trades quite as quickly. It's where very suddenly Wolf Team will find themselves behind the exchange, and then suddenly you'll have problems. It's where I do wonder if they decide to flex things around and makes the lineup look a little bit weird, or if this is simply going to be FCR's hero. And okay, Snapfire.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty standard. Good magic damage. Maybe slightly better versus Enchantress in lane just because you've got the little Shredder, but Is it gonna be enough though? That's like
Hmm.
half wave clear. Almost counts. Not in, doesn't all like entirely count though.
Well, I don't know. Could grab something along the lines of that shard. Maybe that's going to bump that up just a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime,
Oh,
that is going to be the AM to try and deal with the Dusa. And, well, honestly, that is an interesting pick, because I was mentioning before, ET, do they try to match with a hyper carry of their own, or do they go for someone battle ready a little bit earlier? In the anti-mage, technically speaking, you have the option to kind of be both. I don't think he's going to drastically change the itemization for Yuma, but if they need him, he can maybe come into those fights potentially a little bit earlier than HFN does, or if HFN shows up, then you have to worry about the threat from that anti-mage.
yeah. And now Wolf Team have just a living bomb in the lineup. If it takes too long to push into a building, if you're too far away from a tower, if the lineup can't back you up, well, then all of the pieces start to move for SG. That is, though, where you have picked Anti-Mage into Snapfire Undying lane. I don't know
That's
how
true.
much fun Yuma's gonna have, because Undying has a whole lot of base damage on you, and he will just punch you, which is not very fun. So I think that's something to definitely be considerate of. But maybe this is SG's little answer to the Undying as well, because of course you take away his mana pool, you make sure that maybe he gets 1 or 2 less decays per lane. You know, maybe it evens out a little bit. On paper, though, I feel like the Undying is just gonna bop him, but we'll have to see, because even if the Undying does make him struggle in lane, the reason they picked it is just to have this fantastic core matchup. A matchup where he does have to keep on even footing, though. If HFN ever starts to gain a little bit of a lead, put distance in between them, it's where you can almost brute force the anti-mage down when you have 2 items on Medusa, where anti-mage is still looking for his 3rd before he could be a killer. And then things get really tough for you, almost impossible for SG to fight. But that's where you get that 3rd item, you get that 4th item, the game extends, and then suddenly Yuma is his own threat.
Yep. Well, let's see what Wolf Team tried to do. Let's see how this offlane sort of handles him, because, as you said, there's a chance that Yuma just gets a little bit worked in the early stages, but oh boy. There we go. A little bit slow loading in there. That was kind of concerning, but we're good. We'll get this first game underway. Lower bracket final getting started here. As a reminder, winner of this series goes on to the best of 5 grand final. Take their shot at 5 Rat 4 staff, who are sitting back right now, ET, and I was going to say patiently waiting, but at this point I anticipate somebody's probably watching these games taking some serious notes.
No, certainly going to be aware, especially the bans and draft, you know, making sure that I think nothing gets missed here. In this game 1, you know, something that could be said for Wolf Team is they did force Yuma onto this Anti-Mage almost. There were 6 carry bans in the draft. They're really deciding that he's going to be the one to try and focus down here, which has allowed SG quite a few of their comfort heroes, but we'll see if that actually ends up mattering here, as Sentry whiffs on the high ground, so this ward will remain. Don't really want to spend a second Sentry there, and with the knowledge of that high ground vision, they start to disperse on SG.
Yep, back it up a little bit. XY drops down a river ward, though, so it looks like he might still try to contest this, but I don't know if that's a great idea. He's going to try and push forward anyway, but once he sees 2, yeah, it's time to back it up. His teammates were able to grab a couple of runes themselves, though, so still going to be a 2-2 split. No funny business here, and well, we'll get this landing stage underway, ET, and we are going to park that camera bot, at least at the start, see just how forward King RD and FCR try to play here. They've already sort of skilled up what they wanted. Decay and Scatterblast at the moment, so Yuma's going to have to be careful at this point. You never want to be forced into sort of scaling up or skilling up the blink in the early stages.
No, definitely not. That's where you do have to make sure that you keep up with those trades, though, because all it takes is a minute, 4 or 5 right clicks, suddenly Yuma's burned a good 150 mana of yours, and then, again, that's a decay. That's a spell that you suddenly can't use. And right now, I think they're doing a good job. They're making sure that they can actually block out this Enchantress's camps. Prada will probably just skill up Impetus now, or, okay, does just go for the enchant, because he's just right-clicking FCR and not really reacting at all, but Can't really afford to either, but he has 2 sentries on Prada. He has the advantage in this lane. He will be able to protect his camps and separating the Snapfire from the Undying. 3 right clicks, 100 mana. King RD is a little bit sad right now.
Didn't come to the lane with any mangoes or anything of that nature either. He's looking for the early Soul Ring in this core position, so... I mean, he still hits hard, even without the Decay stack, so he is going to find some last hits in Yuma. Has to be a little bit careful, but not nearly as much threat as there otherwise would have been, and now, well, okay, well, boy. No threat onto Yuma, perhaps, but Prada gets absolutely worked.
Oh, now Yuma
might go down 2 here, but he doesn't have Blink for 6 seconds. King RD is just going to keep chasing him. But, well,
Ooh.
if he can see him, Yuma doing a little bit of dancing, and he's going to get out.
Very important they get that return kill there for Yuma, but no, this is where that lane, he's a 77 damage, is going to get salved up as well, and King RD can't cancel it, but no, this might not be the most fun lane in the world, but at least he gets that return kill. But this is also the problem. Anti-Mage is a great hero at making trades when your opponents have mana, but when they are out, and of course Soul Ring, you don't need to have any mana in the reserves to actually make those trades happen. Well, you start running out of damage as well. You need mana break to make trades happen, but without it, can't really do that. Nice creep pull, though, from Prada. Has to kill his Harpy, which kind of sucks, but made sure that the lane stays even. But top lane, they do kill the Omni Knight. Yeah, he's the one that's going to be under threat there. HFN might be fine, but you are a strength hero versus the Timbersaw. Just that stat steal coming into effect.
Yeah, kind of an interesting one. The Whirling Death is what allowed him to finish the kill there onto KJ, but going for this build means you get to punish the Omni a little bit more, but you are without the Timber Chain, so KJ can keep his distance, he should be safe. The problem is he can't do that because he doesn't have any boots at the moment, so in most scenarios, Oscar is not faster, but you get a little bit of assistance from the Marcy, then that gap gets closed real fast.
No, but it's also where I'm kind of watching mid, because KXY is making a nice trade happen. Does he really want to go in? I guess, yeah. He's got him.
Well, the tower shot's kill. Yeah, well, okay. Tried to fairy fire out. That's unfortunate, but honestly, he gets the kill first, right? He grabs some experience. Gonna be feeling just fine about that one. Is Yuma. Yuma gets really just taken down in the bottom lane. They drop the tombstone, which they then deny afterwards, and oh, they catch him with the stun in between maybe his blink timings there, ET, and that ties us up at 3-3, but the fact that they're able to get pressure onto the Anti-Mage now is very impressive. And they're looking for more.
Yeah.
How does he get himself out of this one? He might just be able to walk it out, actually. Yeah. Can't chase him any further. Now Prada's going to potentially turn around. Impetus onto the Undying does a little extra damage, but they weren't looking to turn that, just trying to reset the lane. And Yuma's back in. He's still going to farm. 18 last hits is not bad, but that early death is at least somewhat concerning.
Yeah, no, definitely is. Has his Ring of Health now, though, and just needs to be a little bit more cautious, but this is where the lane does get very frustrating. With 2 points up in mana break, of course, the time that he needs to burn out that mana is even lower. And King RD, well, he's getting chased down. He's also getting mana burned by the Satyr, but that's also where the Bat Rider is going to help finish off these kills, and I don't think King RD really has much he can do here.
XY gets the kill, thinking about going on to FCR because they know he doesn't have any mana. Okay, he can pop the Mango, though. Turns himself around. Another Mango for the Scatter Blast. So he punishes Prada, but he will die. KXY grabs the double, and honestly, you're okay with Prada sacrificing himself there, because now your Bat Rider is sitting on a 3-in-1 stat line. He comes back to mid with quite a bit more gold than Sooths has. Although, oh, wait, TP coming in. They get the knockback. Hold on a second. Zeus in some trouble. The rebound is there. What happened to that toss? KXY didn't actually go anywhere, and that means he's right back on top of Zeus for the damage.
You know, he tried to toss the Bat Rider back to the Marcy, but the Marcy got the rebound mid-toss, so he ended up tossing the Bat Rider onto himself.
Yikes.
So that's great. But no, this is great rotations. Just moving around their cores, making sure the Bat Rider gets early. I love to see the Bat Rider actually show up in these lanes, though, whenever it is helpless. And of course, well, Yuma immediately, well, I guess not so immediately, but does get taken down bottom. But so many teams just play this Batrider as the we need boots of travel before I will even look at the map. I will not rotate. I will not go anywhere. Look, KXY is back again. He's here to come and punish you and rotate on your very slow range or melee heroes here. They do use LTH though, which is also a kill that, I don't know, Wolf Team, they're getting something here.
Man, Oscar, you are not the fastest individual here. Maybe now he's regretting not having the Timber Chain as he finally tracks down KJ for that kill. At the same time, though, on the opposite side of the map, Prada gets taken out. KXY, though, yeah, he's back in the bottom lane once again looking for some revenge. They take down King RD. Yuma takes the Tombstone out, so he's going to get an extra chunk of change there. And, oh, ET, nobody's shy. 15 kills in the first 7 minutes.
No, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants a bite of the action. The only sad thing about these Batrider rotations, as much as I love them, is that Yuma is not getting even half of the kills here. It does just end up being the Batrider sniping it out. So Yuma's like, oh, great, thanks for the rotation. Oh, you got the kill? Oh, that's even better. But then your Tiny gets active, and they kill the Timber Saw. Okay. And now HFN being level 6, well, he needs to start jungling. He absolutely can. There aren't too many stacks for him to fall back on, at least not on his side of the jungle. In the triangle, there's the workings of something great made up by the Snapfire, but HFN is, again, off to a pretty stellar start with his Medusa.
Can't really just write that off. Can't ignore it. It is a concern because it's kind of the whole point of the lineup, and well, as of right now, SG aren't really doing too much to slow it down. They are looking for King RD in the bottom lane, though. Even in Flesh Golem, that didn't matter really at all. Mana Void comes in. They'll clean up the Tombstone a second time for Yuma, so nice bit of gold into his hands, so he finally gets something. And KJ, he's getting hit up a little bit, but he grabbed the haste rune. He's able to just sprint his way out of there, and oh, feels like both sides starting to feel happy about their carry. HFN's farm in the jungle, and Yuma is at the top of the net worth chart, making solid progress towards that Battle Fury.
Yeah, and unfortunately they do kind of ditch King RD there, just not having anyone behind him. They were rotating for 8-minute runes, so makes a little bit of sense, but you definitely got ditched if you're the Undying, which kind of sucks, because you fed, what, 400 gold to Yuma there, so getting ever so closer to that Battle Fury, but rest of the lineup, Prada on the river, trying to interfere with stacks, and well, he did steal the large one, at least a little bit of it, but then HFN comes and says, it doesn't really matter too much to me. And the great ward, though, to scout out this ancient stack being farmed, so maybe we see a bigger rotation, especially once Oscar takes out that top tower. Could certainly see the Timber Saw rotating over for that contest.
Middle lane, KXY holding his fire here with the lasso as LTH 8. Pretty substantial amount of damage there, but they're actually looking bot. Mass TP's coming in. They see the Dusa. They want that Dusa kill. They're going to go in. There's your lasso. And HFN not getting away. They leave it for Yuma to get the Mana Void kill. But the reinforcements are coming. The question is, can they take this fight without their Dusa? Because they are lacking some damage, but Zeus is going to get in there. They take Yuma down first. And now it's SG who are feeling like they might need to fall back. KXY, though, wants the King RD kill, and he is going to get it. That's a pretty damn easy one, but they want a little bit more. Rebound onto KJ. He's trying to fall back to the Tombstone, but they'll use the Dispos to get him away, but now Zeus is back in. Avalanche onto 3. FCR has the cookie. Does he deploy it? Yes, he does. They get the stun onto the Marcy. They'll finish her off, but Oscar's now going to get involved. TPing his way bottom. Finally has a point in Timber Chain, so he's able to get directly onto KJ, and KXY is still fighting. Throws out the Flame Break, knocking heroes back. The Avalanche, though, still hits into the Scatter Blast. KXY will fall, but now Oscar is here to just kind of clean up the fight. They take Suits, and your Snapfire TP's away, ET, but all the cores go down there.
And the funny thing, even though it's a 3 for 4 that ends up with your Blink reveal killing the Anti-Mage, it's about an even gold exchange.
Yeah.
Really, nobody ended up being the winner there. I guess you could say the Anti-Mage was the one that ended up losing out, but then he gets the TP top, gets some free farm, knowing that there are so many heroes still bottom, so gets the farm versus the Medusa. I guess the real winner there then is HFN, because he didn't have to bat an eye. He just simply remained in his jungle. But now, Smoke Up, looking for him. Arcane Rune on the Batrider. Oh
Rebound,
no.
Flame Break. They're going to hold the lasso. I don't think they need it. And actually, well, oh, hold on. Will the fight continue? KJ, I don't know if you want to be here. this is not the right spot for you. He was trying to get in there to defend his teammate. Instead, he's just going to offer himself up as another kill. His teammates did at least get a play down bot. Oscar stayed in that lane, so they were able to pick him off in a 3v1, but they do take HFN down there. And ET, going back to that previous fight, we kind of forgot about it because it was the very start of the fight, but HFN was the first to fall in that bottom lane, so he respawns, doesn't want to get involved in the 14 rounds of fighting that came afterwards, tries to rotate into the jungle, but then they go and gank him again.
Yeah, it's very smart, and honestly, just with the vision placed down, makes sense. And okay, King RD, back bottom, yeah. Oh, he needs to get connected to someone, but no, there's no time. They don't have the Omni Knight. They did get the tower at the end of the day, but I think this was successful enough. And now, okay, they're attempting to try and kill the Timbersaw. A Timbersaw with 30 stacks, though.
Wants to fight.
Yeah.
If you had KXY still in the lane there, I think he actually commits fully for that, but KXY had backed off to farm at that stage, so Oscar just does some damage. But as you say, ET, Wolf Team, they did get the tower. The objective was claimed at maybe a bit of a cost, but map control is going to become vital considering the just absolute farm levels that they need for the carries on each side.
Yeah, the only unfortunate aspect of that, though, with the Medusa going down and then you getting bot tower, is during that entire time, Prado was just mid with creeps at the very least, and he killed off your mid tower. So now, don't really have a safe haven for HFN to play in. He did just farm up a pretty large stack, so he's happy. Gonna top off his levels, gonna make sure he has max split shot and Mystic Snake, but oh, in the river, Batrider. Need a little bit more, though, and yeah, they don't have enough control in FCR. He's got his ulti, so KXY can't push his luck too much here, but oh, let's see. We'll back out.
I think at this point they might just be looking for some damage onto the tower just because they're all still kind of grouped up in the area, but not even really pushing forward for that. Okay, there it is. Zeus blinks in. Where's the toss back? Not a great toss back, honestly, but it leads into the cookie stun, and they're still able to make it happen. LTH picked off, and now they will get a little bit of chip damage onto this tier 1, but Oscar over to the side. He runs into KJ. How much does he really want this engagement? Because he would have to push through the Omni to get to the tower, but HFN's making his way over as well. At this point, if you're SG, I think you might just have to let this tier 1 go. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Oscar gets caught. His Timber Chain is canceled by the stun. Okay. Well, now you absolutely have to let the tower go.
Yeah, no. And again, it's not the fastest push, you know? You aren't the most efficient lineup at turning around these objectives, but it'll work. And the KXY needs to be very careful here. That team was Courier, but now didn't have his Battle Fury on it. He already has it, so don't need to worry about that snipe. But, oh, FCR doesn't get punished, but both just kind of walk away here. And King RD, he turned himself out thin, but with the salves, he's fine. And they turn. LTH just walks a little bit too close again.
Hmm. And the thing that feels kind of awkward about that whole play, ET, they, oh, well, that's even more awkward. KXY is going to get caught. Ava into tossback. Mortimer Kiss is coming through. KXY dropping, and they will be able to get him. Zeus gets the kill, too, so that extra gold for the killing spree goes into the Tiny's hands at, oh, Zeus. Same play over and over again. Oscar's going to be a little bit tougher to bring down, though. They're not going to be able to find that kill, but they're playing so far forward. But for SG, they glyphed that tower, and it wasn't the first tier 1 to fall, so it's not back up. Part of the reason I think Wolf Team were still kind of hanging out around that tier 2, because if you can keep finding pickoffs like that, then you could potentially chip away at that objective as well.
Yeah, they just know it's 3. And now, oh, okay.
Oh, Prada.
Prada. Well, on borrowed time here, perhaps.
Favorite Roshnut? No, not even close. Zeus is just going to clean it up, and the Tiny's starting to get himself going with some of these kills, ET. The Blink Dagger came earlier. Now he's looking for the Echo for a little bit of extra damage, but now he needs to look for a way out, because he just gets lassoed in. There's no King RD alive anymore, so they're not going to have any sort of soul rip heal. KJ would have to do it, but KJ, well, he already used the heal. He used everything he really had, and it wasn't enough. Zeus goes down, rebound stuns FCR, and they are looking to really just take every single hero involved here as they get both of the supports at the end. Yuma with 3 of those 4 kills. I mean, he just picked up the Battle Fury, ET, and the Yasha's just about done now, too.
No, and this is the concern. You do not want to feed Yuma kills right now. This is the worst possible time. This is where Anti-Mage really starts to ramp up. You've got a huge instant stack to look for as well. Even getting healed up with the sidekick, because sidekick's fair, you know? Love that spell, but this is where, again, there needs to be that distance between your Medusa and the Anti-Mage. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, because he will just blink away every single Stone Gaze. He will just burn your mana slowly but surely, and then suddenly you can't team fight. It's where I think Wolf Team really need to take a hard look in the mirror here and say, okay, where's our next big team fight? We need to get active again. We can't just afford to wait around now, because every minute that we wait, it's bigger items. It's BKB on Batrider. It's Halberd on the Timbersaw. And Yuma already queuing up the Scotty. He knows what he needs to do to win this game. I think he has a full Manta in what feels like probably just 100 gold if he needs it, but he might even just rush the Scotty at this point because he knows that's what breaks this matchup.
Especially considering you take a look over at the Dusa, HFN's going for that sort of stat build with the Dragonlance along with the SNY, so he won't have anything like a Scotty or a Manta or a Butterfly of his own. It's just stats, and the stats are nice, but if you're burning through that mana shield in the first couple of seconds, you're still not going to be tanky enough to live, so I don't know. HFN playing a dangerous game. I think just assuming his teammates are going to be able to buy him further time is, speaking of buying time, Prada, look at this. They jump onto him. Zeus and FCR make the play, but they don't actually manage to find the kill, and your Enchantress just TP's out.
Yeah, and this is where Wolf Team's lineup is getting put underneath a little bit of pressure. With an Anti-Mage and a Boots of Travel carrier on SG, their lanes are not really getting pushed out. It becomes a battle whether or not you can keep this mid lane in. And right now, they're doing a good job at least bringing one hero every once in a while to make sure it's pushed. But once Oscar gets his own wave in, then the top tower is going to be under threat. Then you pushing this bottom tier 2, it's a good play. They don't have glyph still. You're still playing with that punish timing. But you are losing out on a good bit of farm right now. So your options are either to kill the rats or settle for the tier 2. And settling for the tier 2 18 minutes in is not a bad option in the least, but you are worried about just giving that time over to your opponents, because if SG aren't going to bat an eye, they aren't going to bat an eye. And, well, the Batrider actually decides to TP bottom, but that's only because he has his BKB now. He feels like he's safe.
Do Wolf Team try it anyway? They're kind of angling around that tower still. If KXY gets caught, great. If he backs off like he is now, then that's still pretty great, because he's not pushing top anymore, and you are free to take that tier 2, so it's a little bit of a gamble, perhaps, but it does pay off for the Wolf Team side. Can they safely go any further than this, though? Can they realistically threaten the high ground? Oh, if they find that kill, maybe.
Choice, but oh no.
Oh, KXY, does he lasso? Teammates are slowly kind of coming over, but he has basically no health. They are going to try and get him out of here as Oscar pushes forward, but KXY sticks around too long. King RD just gets the decay once the BKB wears off. Now they're looking for more. Zeus is in. There's the Ava. The toss hits a zombie. That is unfortunate. And now Zeus needs to be saved. They are healing him up quite a bit, but the rebound's still going to lock him up. Yuma... Oh, Yuma just canceled his TP, actually. So he is not going to be here for a bit.
No, he didn't even want a TP back in the first place. He doesn't have his item. It's where greeting out. He'd have a Manta style if he TP'd home, but you do not want to TP home right now. You need to trust your teammates and say that, yeah, they probably can't do this, and it will end up being the right call, but that was a good bit of damage. That was not a bad timing for Wolf Team to hit. And I think also just punishing KXY for getting that close was definitely, I think, a little bit of a misplay from him, just assuming that the Marcy would be able to get him out, but... Oh, wait. No way, KXY.
You have no BKB, my guy. That's... Ooh, that's a little bit of a mistake on that one. Now 2 deaths for the Batrider, and well, Wolf Team, they're going back onto the high ground. They could probably, I don't know, guess if the Batrider has buyback or not, but even if he does, which he doesn't right now, if he does and he uses it, that's even better for Wolf Team. So they're trying to force it, but there is no buyback, and once they realize that, they're going to start focusing this tower, and that's a tier 3 that could potentially be going down here, but fortunately, their creep wave is not quite cooperating. It's coming up behind them now, but by this point, well, they're still going to try it. Zeus goes in. Ava doesn't hit. Now he might get a little bit punished. Takes some damage there from the shock room, but all the while, HFN's the battering ram. He is hitting up that tier 3. They will manage to get it. I don't know if they want to stick around, though, to try for the racks, because KXY's back up, and so is his BKB.
Gotta make sure they don't get another toss back. Again, though, misses the cookie. We'll have enough magic damage, but look at the back line.
They got the lasso. They lasso onto the Omni Knight, actually trying to take KJ out of the picture, but they're not really getting him all that quickly, but they did get Sooths. That is going to be important, but HFN does not care. Pops a Stone Gaze.
Go.
Yeah. We are backing the hell out of here. King RD, though, maybe not. He's going to get knocked back by the Flame Break. He is a very tanky boy, but he is a very slow boy. And Yuma, not even going to use the Mana Void on him. Just gets the kill with the right clicks. Finished off that Scotty before he TP'd back, but they're looking for even more. KJ wasn't able to get out in time, so SG track him. They get the kill. They did still lose the tier 3, but they're able to find some kills on the back end at least.
Yeah, and it's a really tough decision to make from HFN there, because if he pops the Stone Gaze as soon as that Batrider goes in, the lasso probably isn't as successful, and maybe your Tiny survives a little bit longer, but then your entire lineup 100% dies to the Anti-Mage. So kind of says, I gotta cut my own losses, I have to play for my own life, I'm gonna use the Stone Gaze for me, not for you guys, sorry, but we need to not die to this Anti-Mage right now, because Yuma, he is getting to that breaking point. And with the Scotty, any fight that is taken, again, away from the base, outside of these areas, is going to result in probably a team fight loss. And that's also where Wolf Team is trying something with HFN. He's trying to go for the butterfly, force Yuma into an MKB, put a lot of strain on Yuma's items, but that's also where I think once you get past that timing, well, this is going to be your big buff. This is really SG's time to be cautious, because Wolf Team could just straight up win the game off of this butterfly. If they just never have to go, if they get one more glyph out of you, they get mid, this could be 2 racks, and maybe not the game, but certainly a dominating position to be in. But all they have to do now is connect on these creep waves, and then we'll see if they can actually get the split push coming in. Because right now, Prada's just sticking around bottom. He's going to take over the Medusa illusion. He's going to push in that bottom lane. And that's not just any illusion. That's an illusion rune. So it's going to be around for quite a while pushing in bot.
40 seconds on that timer, so they're not going to be able to push through there. The smoke play from Wolf Team did not get them onto a target either. So now they're going to try and get into the pit, but this feels unbelievably dangerous. And SG know what's up. They're going to try pushing their way forward. And if Yuma is able to get onto HFN, bad things are going to happen. LTH comes in, though. They're going to get the rebound into the dispos onto King RD, but that's exactly the target Wolf Team want to be getting hit right now. And yeah, that does not play out the way that SG thought it would. Now Yuma might be in some trouble. There's the avalanche into the toss back. Can he blink away? Yes, he can, but he does so with very little health remaining. And they're going to try and push for it. They want to catch up to him. That forces another blink. SG are falling back. Do they catch anyone? It looks like they'll get Prada here. Avalanche to toss back is going to get them the kill, but Anti-Mage is able to fall back. ET, the problem is he still doesn't have a lot of health, so I mean, they're back into the pit.
Yeah, and there is a Batrider gnawing at them from above, so something to be careful of. You also don't have Flesh Column anymore. Does have the Ag Shard, though, which will put that cooldown on a little bit easier, but KXY, you'd have to be a madman here. But he's got Flame Breaking.
He's got the lasso.
Whoa.